welcome to the newest episode of A Few Cues with Diandra Reviews. I am Diandra Reviews, and this episode is brought to you by DiandraReviewsItAll.com, where I review entertainment for the light it gives. On today's episode, I have a very special guest because it's the premiere episode. This is season 2, people. Get ready, and I'm so happy that I have such a cool guest, Audrey Mika. She has quickly amassed a major following on TikTok, and she's so genuine. And for me to get really philosophical, she kind of expands what it means to be authentic because she's natural. She's thoughtful, but not in a forced way. She's not trying to be wise. She's trying to express her feelings, and she does it in a way that is so lovely and so nuanced, and more importantly, it's relatable. She is taking a self-love journey that I hope everybody takes, and I think eventually will, and that is what her newest single, Chivalry, is about. In analyzing whether she treats herself well, she inadvertently analyzed whether others are treating her well as well. And that is so important, especially as a young woman, to have standards in a relationship, to not always just analyze what you're giving what you're giving to someone, but also analyze what you're receiving from them. And I don't think that we often think about that. I don't think we think that we deserve to have boundaries and needs and wants and say that this is my deal breaker. And the crazy thing about realizing that you need to be more chivalrous to yourself is that it does change people's perception of you. As you change your perception of yourself, others change their perception of you as well. And she has received so many new fans who are embracing this new version of herself, but she's also had some fans say, hey, we don't like how you're changing, and in a way, how you're growing. So we talk about what it means to grow better and kind of accept that not everybody can go on your journey with you, but others will come along the way. It's a super inspirational, super light interview. It's just a few cues. It says it in the title, and it is brought to you by DiandraReviewsItAll.com, where I review entertainment for the light it gives. Check out also my newest podcast, Diandra and the Co-Host, where I invite artists to be my co-host for the day, and we discuss their top 5 favorite topics of discussion. But first, check out this episode of A Few Cues with Diandra Reviews, featuring Audrey Mika as we discuss chivalry. Oof, it's so good. Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my first question I wanted to ask was, when I look at your songs, like your newest single, Chivalry and Fake Heartbreak, I wanted to ask, like, those, it seems like you're asking for not only a genuine connection, but a kind connection. And for me personally, that epiphany of I need to be real with people, but I need to get real kindness from them comes from experience. Can you say that that's what has happened? You in experiencing relationships, you've realized you need people to be good to you.
Yes. Yes. I think that is very important to surround yourself with people that are loving and care for you and are kind to you, and I really only write music from personal experiences, because then it won't be authentic or genuine to me, because I'm not writing from what I'm feeling exactly. So chivalry and fake heartbreak is, very personal to me, because that is exactly how I feel about those situations. And so, yes, I do think that, people deserve to be happy as well. And I want, especially in chivalry, I really wanted to say that, like, you deserve to find someone that's going to take care of you and hold you when you want to be
Yeah.
held, not pay for your food when or clothes. Like you can do that yourself. So I think that was really the message that I was going for chivalry.
It's interesting because as I look at your music, I have to say that there has been a transition. I think, like with your previous songs, you were really just assessing your heartbreak and your frustrations. But Chivalry kind of feels like you're turning around and saying, these are my list of demands if you want to be with me.
Yes.
Is,
Yes.
is that a proper assessment?
I mean, well, I feel like chivalry is me growing up and like setting boundaries and be like, yeah, like
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. And like that's so important is just like setting your boundaries and you know, if anyone doesn't respect that, then it you can't, keep them in your life because they're never going to respect your boundaries. So, I wouldn't say that from fake heartbreak, it was like a continuous story. I
Yeah.
think that I might have just been like sad and, change your heart was also kind of sad and like, I just think that chivalry was definitely just a step up from what I had been writing before and just in general just there's lines in it that are a little bit more mature than my other songs and even like the sound of the song, the quality of it is just like a little bit different and the song is just like a little bit slower and I just think that as an artist I always need to be pushing forward and always need to be breaking the wall and going up and just like doing something different to challenge myself. So I feel like chivalry was definitely a bit of a shift, which is really good though. And I'm so happy with how it turned out, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I will have to say, I have to fight you a little bit because
Yeah.
I do think that you have a story. I think that I think you are continuing a story, which is yours, and
Yeah.
I hear the growth, and I'm curious if you hear your own growth.
Oh, I 100% hear my own growth. I mean, I guess I guess in a way, every song that I do put out is a little bit of me telling my story and what I've gone through. So, yeah, you're right. I guess like this was kind of the moment where I'm like, all right, like I'm 20 now. I'm setting boundaries
Yeah.
and I'm talking about just being cared for by someone and but also like I can say that I'm independent now and maybe a year ago I couldn't really put a song out like this
Mhm.
and that is saying a lot. That says a lot that like I have grown in the past year and I'm not the same person I was a year ago and that's good. I'm glad that I'm not the same person cuz we all need to keep growing and if people are like you've changed like good. I don't I don't want to be who I was a year ago. I wasn't happy.
Mm.
I wasn't in a good place and now like I I feel so much more confident in my music as well. Just I've been able to collaborate with such beautiful people and that has inspired me too to just like keep going and challenge myself when it comes to making music and that's the most important thing to me is just the music making.
I mean, I have to give you compliments. I think at 20, realizing that you should receive from your relationships as much as give to them is like a big deal.
Yes.
Um, and you said something really ironic, which is that when you make that epiphany, there are people either in your life or fans who kind of say, don't make it, don't make that epiphany. Like they feel the change too. And is that kind of the price you pay as an artist that you in growing to be better yourself, you do lose a few people.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely tough to see comments being like, I miss the old Audrey. And it's
Mm.
like, I don't. I'm glad that I'm not her anymore. Like
Yeah.
she was insecure and just not low self-esteem and just like not who I want to be and you know even though I was navigating everything while I was in that place, yes, I was that person, and I'm sorry that you miss her, but she's not coming back. Like, this is who I am now, and like, if you're not going to accept who I am now, fine. So be it. Like, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, and it's hard to see those comments for sure, because it's like, it
Yeah.
makes me think, and I'm like, well, did I change in a bad way? But it's like, no,
Yeah.
you never can, and you can only grow, and it's really all about how you handle it and how you take it, and that you are aware of what you are doing, and that is like how you also are mature in that way, just like being aware of what you're doing and how you're treating people and how you're treating yourself too. It's so important to take care of yourself, and that is just like what I preach every day, is just like, take care of yourself, like take your time, self-care, whatever that means to you, like do that, make time,
Yeah.
prioritize that, because that's so big to feel good and happy and stable mentally. And it doesn't just happen in one day. It takes time to do that for sure. And I think for some people it's hard to know that. It's hard to know that it takes time to heal, but it does. And once you get there, it feels so good and you feel alive again.
I mean, it's definitely a process, and I always find it ironic that getting better gets more backlash. Um, uh, but with that being said, we're heading towards my final two questions, and my first is kind of connected to this one, which is, I have to say that I've seen you perform, and you are so bright. So the fact that you're saying you had insecurities, you hit them well. You were so, I mean, you were so connected, or at least people were connected to you. Do you think that that part of transitioning into a mature person, the backlash comes from just how I've never seen a group of people more invested or protective of someone than in your concert? I have to say, it was one of those like, wow, like this crowd thinks they are Audrey Mika's best friends.
Oh, wow. I really appreciate that. You know, you said that my insecurities weren't showing, but music and performing was the only time I didn't feel insecure.
Mm,
And that's why I love it so much, is because I just know that I don't really care what happens on the stage. I just like live in that moment so hard, because it's so beautiful that like these people are coming together because of my music, and we're all there for one thing. And I just like, my fans are my family. Like, they are my best friends. I love them, just like I adore them. They're such beautiful people. And when I perform, it feels like we're just hanging out, and I'm just like singing them some songs, and that makes me really happy that you could feel that also. And
yeah.
I miss tour so much. I think about it every day. I miss hugging them. I miss singing to them. I miss talking to them in person. And I I just like can't wait to get back on the road and sing these new songs with the new version of me. And I'm not ready. Like, I'm so excited to get back to that, and just I owe it to them. I owe them the music and the tour, and I just feel like I owe everything to my fans, because I would not be here without them. And it's just like kind of crazy
Yeah.
how things have happened. And I never ever imagined it happening this way. 3 years ago, I was just making music in my room in the Bay Area, and never really thought it was going to go anywhere. Never really thought I was good enough. And I was very insecure then, and I was homeschooled. It was so antisocial, just like didn't really have a lot of friends, and I really only had like my dog and music at the time. So just seeing how this is all panned out has been just a dream come true. And tour was just like every day I was like, there's no way this is real. Like, is this really happening right now? It's just insane.
I'm excited for you to see how the new you performs. And,
So,
wrapping the interview to the song Chivalry, I'm curious to know what is at least one boundary or one thing that you see that you definitely define as chivalrous. Because you talked about how you're learning boundaries, you're learning what you want. So what is one thing you definitely want?
I mean, in my future relationships, I think that, my biggest boundary is just like whoever I'm with, them just respecting when I need space. And that doesn't mean that like I'm not okay. It just means like I might be perfectly fine, but like I just need to be on my own right now to recharge. And that's kind of where I'm chivalrous to myself. And it's like, no,
Mm,
I respect myself. I respect my own boundaries. And it's like, I'm going to set this right now so that it doesn't turn into something that I can't get out of. And so, I think that that is a big one for me. It's just like, people understanding that I need to take the time for myself, whether I'm okay or not okay. And I will come to you when I need you. And
mm,
that's like when I will need you is I will come to you. Um and not in a way where they I'm making them wait for me. Like it's not like that at all. It's
yeah.
just like I've got to do what I've got to do for myself to be okay, and so do you. Like you do your thing, I do mine, and we'll come together when we're both okay, So that's just kind of the message where I want it to come off as like, this person can be chivalrous for you, and but you also need to be chivalrous for yourself. And one of the lines in the song is "I'm my own gentleman," and that's like hell yeah. I'm gonna I'm gonna do all of that for myself. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think that there's a lot of, I'm really proud of this song because I think it has a really great message in it. And I hope that people connect with it too.
Well, that was my final question. And I'm so excited for your future. I think you're on a great path personally, and that will only be better musically. So thank
Thank
you. You sound
you.
powerful.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.